What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, August 20th to all of you. Yesterday was my worst day of 2020, and I'm reeling. I'm angry. I couldn't sleep. Woke up very early. Capped this card extremely hard. Just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong yesterday. 1-8 in MLB, down 8.69 units. It's the first day that I wake up all baseball season. I mean, it's not been that long, but down units. 59 wins, 53 losses, 52.7%. I'm down 1.62 units. Extremely irritating. 0-1 in NHL, but really 0-3 in NHL because I lost 2 series bets, and I didn't even come close to them. The NHL teams, we were wondering, can these top teams turn it on after looking so bad in that exhibition season? They could. They've dominated. In NBA, can these teams flip a switch and turn it on? They haven't been able to. 1-1 in NBA. Extremely angry and disappointed. I know days like this happen. It's important for us to really enjoy our successes because the losses hurt so badly. And angry. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Betting with the Bag here at odds.com, Odds HQ, Odds headquarters. We have a lot of MLB games to break down. There was a bunch of first 5 bets that I wanted to make, but my book didn't have the first 5s up. I made 3 NBA bets that I've yet to make a move on NHL. We have Bobano joining us in 49 minutes to break down NBA and NHL. Together, you guys and myself, we will break down this big MLB card. Tomorrow, Friday, Connor McLaughlin makes his Betting with the Bag debut. Oh, God! Let's get to work. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. Damon Santori in the house. We got Leo, Leon, Chris, N. What a great, great group. Ostino, ready to go. There's Reese in the house. Shaft. Brandon Lugo. Leo Leon coming in with a parlay. We got Brandon Lugo said I had the Mets under, crushed my soul. Nick Dillard in the house. Reese says we're going to bounce back. There's DX Filer. There is Nilo. Thank you, Shaft. I know they come once or twice a year. It doesn't make them any easier to handle. Nilo back on Blazers first quarter money line. I'm on the opposite side of you today, Nilo. I'm on Lakers first quarter, first half. There's Birdie in the house. There is TJ ready to go. We got Walla Dos. Gilma in the house. First 5 under. I like that look, first 5 under. Trevor Williams is pitching well right now as well, but that book, it hadn't come out. There's Yellow Jesus. That's what I need. That's whom I need. I need Yellow Jesus to bless all of our picks. Oh, Yellow Jesus, it's nice to see you. Wow. The timing is perfect. There's Robert Allen in the house. Gio Mercedes ready to go. Young Bula ready to eat. Ostino says bounce back day today. I need it badly. James Stanley says I had a good day's day from 3 picks. You got to be the only guy, James. You got to be the only guy, but I'm glad. Yellow Jesus took OKC money line. Leon saying we're going to get right back on track. LeBron says Lakers have intricate issues behind the scenes. This guy and the excuses. I still think they come out very strong today. I'm not saying they cover or even win, but I expect them to be extremely strong today. We hit the Brooklyn Nets first quarter. I mean, it's a very different situation, but I just expect them to come out very, very focused. There's Barry Smith in the house. Mr. Wisdom. Nice. TJ, those of you who've been rolling with TJ, I follow him on Twitter. He's giving us his K-prop 7-4-1 since going public. I love it. There's Leroy Flood in the house. Tyrone Coleman. A. Hilly. BC says I got to make up for that Yankees double down yesterday. It's not the only thing I got to make up for. Ah, God. Okay. Yellow Jesus coming at me. Okay. Let's get to work. There's Maxwell Smart in the house. Great to see you, Max. Chad Whaley says Celtics going to sweep. Sixers have checked out. And Ick Schnizzle says, let's stay positive. Smack this shit up. All right. Let's get to work. We have a big, big day ahead of us. And, okay, I'm going to stop looking at that record from yesterday. Man, that hurts. Okay, Rays, Yankees, let's get to work right now. We have 45 minutes to break down this big MLB card before we are joined by the one and only Bobano. There's Mr. Gokster in the house. Carlos Shed says, I feel like a punching bag. All right. Okay. Paco Healy in the house. John Curtis versus James Paxton. Let's see what we are dealing with. Let's move to MLB. Oof. I know the days. I know we have days like this. I do. I know. But it doesn't make it any easier. Okay. Sorry, let me get my Bet 365 up here. We're going to have opening lines. We are using the Legal American Sports Books. Let's get to work. Spreads and money lines and totals here. Curtis Paxton. This total opens up juice to the over 9.5. It's now juice to the under 9.5. A 10-cent move towards the under. Yankees open up at minus 135. Excuse me. They open up at minus 130. That's where they stand right now. Brightware says Orioles dog of the day. Wow, says when is Judge expected back? Not for about 4 or 5 more days. Rays versus lefties. 248, 797 OPS. They have a lot of power against lefties. And Paxton, 1-1, 7.04 ERA, 1.63 whip. K to walk ratio, nice and strong, 18 Ks with 3 walks. But his velocity is down to 92.3 miles per hour this year. That's from 95.4 miles last year. It got a little bit faster against Boston last out. He allowed 3 runs in 5 innings. He got to 92.8 miles per hour. Brightware says early no bats going to the under. Paxton, 3-1, 3.38 ERA in 6 career starts against Tampa. I just don't trust the Yankees and Paxton. I just don't trust them. The lineup doesn't look strong. The Rays are completely rolling right now. They're confident. I can't get a first 5 up yet. I can't get a first 5 up, but I'd like to see one. I would like Rays first 5. I don't want to double up. Maybe I just take them full game. I mean, there's no need to double up here. DX Filer says, I bet Tampa yesterday, off them today. Probably no bet here. Viper says Paxton can't be trusted. Dom Ricci, 14-6 last 20, finally heating up. Love seeing that. Carlos Jetton says, why do I feel a little gun shy? It's the same thing with me. I mean, to me, I actually look at this and think, why not a double up? And the Yankees don't know Curtis. I guess this is the reason, because Trevor Richards is going to come in and screw it all up. That's why. Trevor Richards is the primary pitcher. 5.93 ERA in 4 appearances this year. Did not look good against Toronto last out. Can't be trusted. There's Eric Chang in the house. Can't be trusted. 77 Fahrenheit clear, 2 miles per hour, sideways, slightly out. The pitchers tell me that there could be an over, but this sleepy early start, whenever I expect offense in these early games, it costs me. I can't trust Trevor Richards. How about Tampa to score first? That's not even up yet. I think first team to score, maybe. We'll see we'll see when that comes up. We'll see when that comes up on the board. It's not up yet. Let's go to the doubleheader, Phillies, Blue Jays, the doubleheader yesterday. I made my first bet on a 7-inning doubleheader, and it got me right in the bottom mouth Got me right in the old drink hole. Ugh. And Robert Allen says Tampa Bay equals Yankees killer. Every team has that team that always breaks their heart. I mean, Yankees lead the season series 5-1. Each wins come by 3 or fewer runs. Yankees are 15-3 against the rest of the league. All right, let's go into Phillies, Blue Jays. 69 Fahrenheit, clear. Paco Ely says, love the Slam Diego hat. Man, right here, Paco. Thank you. A gift from Paco Ely. Your team looks good. Mr. Gokster says, I think the Yankees win this one. All right, let's go to Phillies, Jay, Sainfield, Buffalo, 69 Fahrenheit. Prince of the City, you have to say it. I need to hear it. And I should not have bet on Embiid yesterday. Although he did cover the 43.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I said he was going to try to distribute the ball. He got 3 assists in the first quarter and not another one for the rest of the game. All right. Paco Ely says that Grand Slam was the worst beat on the board for underbettors. Yeah. And there's, 3 straight games with Grand Slams? Yes, that's what I said, Walla Walla. I said the Rays lead the season series 5-1, and each wins come by 3 or fewer runs. All right, let's move on to Phillies, Blue Jays. Spencer Howard versus Chase Anderson. It's very hard to get a read on either of these, and when you cut it down to 7 innings, you can't take advantage of the Phillies bullpen. Blue Jays come in after completing a 3-game sweep of the Orioles. Grichuk, 6 home runs on the season, all in the past 6 games. He's homered in 4 straight. There's Alex Ramirez, star of the Spidey play today. Gabriel Hernandez in the house. And Tom Reach says Yanks do, Paxton do. Nice job, Robert Allen. Mavs money line last night. That's got to feel good. Phillies had their 4-game winning streak snapped yesterday. 6-3 loss to the Boston Red Sox. Philly is averaging 5.72 runs per game. That's the most in the majors. They'd scored at least 6 runs in each of their 4 wins. And Howard, with a finger blister, was removed on Friday. He's allowed 8 runs, 7 earned on 14 hits in 8 innings. Jake the Rake says overs are the play. You have to think that's the case, but this 7-inning spot, there's no line on the board yet. And they traveled. They go into a double dip. And the wind, it's a little chilly. I mean, it's 69 Fahrenheit. It gets warmer as the day goes on. But you got this 10-mile-per-hour sideways across the diamond wind. There's Mark Rosado in the house. Trevino Sloan says, shout out from Philly. Nice 3-team parlay. Beautiful. Nice work, Trevino. Nilo says Tampa versus New York over first 5 looks interesting at 5. Yeah, it does. But it's minus 125, and that caught up to me yesterday. There's making bets that are just too juiced. I guess I would have interest in, but it's the start of a doubleheader. It's a travel day for both teams. Yeah. I guess I have some interest in the Jays getting to Howard. Some. We'll see what happens when that gets on the board. Game 2 is we're expecting it's Velasquez. That could change. Velasquez, Trent Thornton. Thornton's only made 1 start this season. 1 run, 8 hits, 4 innings against the Nats. Went on the IL with elbow inflammation. Phillies, 258, 772 OPS, first righties. Bullpen worst in the league. I can't trust Velasquez or Thornton. And again, you have nice wind for the pitchers. 11 miles per hour sideways across the diamond. I don't have it yet, Birdie. Birdie asking what's the Jays team total. I don't have it. All right, let's move on to Tigers, White Sox. There's T. Henderson in the house. We are live in a few different ways. Yeah, I did see that. I did see the over 5 at minus 125 slats. I just think that's a little bit too much juice, and that cost me yesterday. Cost me. Today we are live on Twitch and Facebook. And, of course, here on Odds headquarters. Let's talk Tigers, White Sox, Turnbull, Giolito. This first 5 totals at 4.5. This White Sox lineup is very dangerous right now. Full game was juiced to the over 8.5. It's now juiced to the under 8.5. Giolito and the White Sox open up at minus 180. They're now minus 160. So a 20-cent move towards the Detroit Tigers. Alex Hill looking for NHL plays. 2 big games, and Bobano will be joining us to talk about it. All right, Spencer Turnbull. Lucas Giolito, 81 Fahrenheit clear, 7 miles per hour, sideways. Tigers, man, 8 straight losses. They were 9-5 at one point this year. There's Tony Mang in the house. Great to see you, Tony. Chris N says Islanders roll. Spencer Turnbull, 2-1, 2.78 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. He got touched up a little bit last game, but he's had a nice season. White Sox won 4 straight. They've hit 14 homers over that 4-game winning streak. Giolito, 1-2, 4.88 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. It's better than it looks. He got lit up in that first game. Tigers don't have any power versus righties. 208, 646 OPS. Kevin Linebeer, it was my worst day of 2020. Probably because I haven't sent you my stand-up yet. Maybe that's what I need to. Ugh. It was awful. Okay. Don't think about it. White Sox versus righties, 250, 720 OPS. Tigers bullpen, 4.32 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. They've been good. White Sox bullpen, 3.88 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. Giolito, 4.93 ERA in 7 career starts against the Tigers. Turnbull coming off his first rough start. Allowed 3 runs, 6 hits, 4 2/3, 4 walks, 3 Ks against the Indians. And his bad numbers against the White Sox. All that said and done, I'm actually going to stay off of this. I could understand trying to make a move on the under. Andrew G says baseball too vicious for me. Man, it'd been a great year until yesterday. Yesterday's debacle. Mr. Wisdom on White Sox first 5. Yes, Gabriel Hernandez, thank you. I'm going to stay off of this. Neither team has good numbers against the opposition. And Matt Jennings says Houston at only -2 is a tasty line. I'm not sure what to do with that game, but I've made 3 bets in NBA, Matt Jennings, so far. We're going to talk more about it. And we're going to talk more about it. But my 3 bets so far, I think the Heat could be similar to the Celtics, although the Pacers aren't heartless like the Sixers. But I think it's similar to that. I just think the Heat are a better basketball team. Sabonis being out is really, really detrimental. I'm on the Heat full game -4, and I'm on the Lakers first quarter, first half. All right, you gotta wanna. Thank you, Alex. Okay, let's move on from this. Let's go to Astros, Rockies, Javier versus Marquez. Another spot where this the time slot for the show was hurt me yesterday because the play of the day by Noli Knows was this Astros Rockies first 5 under 7. But when I went to bet it, it moved to 6.5. And I won't do that. I won't take that worse of a line. They both would have cashed anyways. Dom says, I see a bunch of people on the under 6.5 first 5 Astros Rockies. I see why you would with Javier versus Marquez. Let's see if this is up yet. Wow, it's at 6 already. It's at 6 already. Unbelievable. TJ says, my book offering a prop, Heat, Lakers, Bucks all win at +180. No, I don't think that makes sense, TJ, but let's just see very quickly. I don't think that makes sense at all. Heat, Bucks. Oh, yeah, they're giving you about 40 cents of extra, but I don't know if I would. I don't know. See what the chat has to say. Many in the chat are running strong right now. Patrick Toby says Lakers won't win. I don't know if they will. All right. Thank you, Leo Leon, for the kind word. Don Regis says Ragu loves it. Look, I would love it too if I got 6.5. But my book's already moved it down to 6, 93 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour in. I'm not going to take it at 6. Christian Javier, 2-1, 2.91 ERA, 0.83 WHIP, 21 2/3, 21 K, 7 walks, 4 homers. Herman Marquez, 2-3. TJ says I'm going Pacers today. Interesting. Mark Rosales says, what about Thunder Day? Look, I can't wait to talk I can't wait to talk basketball, but let's get through this MLB and not just get through it. Let's succeed with it. Marquez, 2-3, 2.25 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's getting no help from his offense when he's on the mound, but he's had a great season. 30 Ks, 8 walks, 2 homers. Astros versus righties, 234, 706 OPS. I know those numbers sound bad, but they're actually improving. Rockies versus righties, 252, 733 OPS. Astros bullpen pitching well, 3.66 ERA, 1.56 whip. A high whip, but not mostly singles and rinky-dink hits. Rockies bullpen 5.35 ERA, 1.47 whip. Colorado's now lost 8 of 10. They've lost 3 straight to Houston. Marquez has yet to allow more than 2 runs in any outing, 2 earned runs. 4th career start against Houston, 5 ERA. And the Rockies now have David Dahl on the IL. And the Astros are rolling. They've won 7 straight. Javier looked very good against a weak-hitting Mariners squad last out. And Yordan Alvarez, season-ending right knee surgery. Champino saying Bieber over 7.5 strikeouts. I don't know why I got off that. Cashman, you're absolutely right. Nurkic, Whiteside on the floor together has changed the series. Martin Bradstreet in the house. Love that guy, Martin. All right. Nice to have Martin rolling with us. Okay, Mets, Marlins, Dommy Gunn. Perfect timing to have you in the chat. I want to back the New York Mets here against the Marlins. I want to back them. Let's see what we are getting here and see if it's up and Adam here. Lugo versus Castano. Mets are a big favorite. Gabriel Katz says, hello from Uruguay. Thank you for joining us, Gabriel, my friend. And Jason Lowry says, God, yesterday was my worst day since start of sports. This is my worst day of 2020, Jason Lowry. Ty Clinton says, first 500 Rockies, Astros. Ty, if I could get a 6.5, I would bet it. But at 6, I'm not going to. And that's what I'm being offered here. It's a bullpen day for the Mets. Boston Nick in the house. The Lock Nick monster. I would like to take the Mets first 5. I would like to take the Mets first 5. I like Lugo starting. I know he's only going to go an inning or 2. I know the Mets bullpen got lit up in the beginning of the year, but they're improving. But I'll only take them first 5. Lugo 3-0, 2.61 ERA in 20 appearances, 4 starts. At Marlins Park, 3.55 ERA. Miami's lost 5 straight, 8 of 10. And I think Castano's going to get touched. 19th round pick, 2016 by the Cardinals. Never made it past Double-A. Made his MLB debut August 8th. Lost to the Mets. So they've seen him already. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 runs, 4 earned. He was better against the Braves last out. There's Guillermo Zertucci in the house. TJ says New York, Miami keeps going over. And what would I get first 5 here on the Mets if I take the -0.5, -120? I'm going to do that. I'm going to be on the Mets first 5 here, -0.5. All right. Robert Allen says the Tigers game first 5 unders and Noli pick I'm tailing. It does feel like that spot for Noli that he would does. Yeah, I get it. I get why Noli's on it. All right. That's my first spot. Again, I've yet to make any bets in baseball today. Brian Warner on Marlins money line. I think that the Mets hitting 794 OPS versus lefties can get after it. There's Canascat in the house. Great to see you, Canascat, my man. Let's move to Indians, Pirates, Bieber, Williams. Waiting for this first 5 to come up here. Expecting a 3.5. And we're getting a 4. The 2 worst hitting teams in MLB baseball. They also can't hit righties. Indians 200, 649 OPS. Pirates 192, 549 OPS. Awful. 83 Fahrenheit, 3 miles per hour, partly cloudy, out to straightaway center. Shane Bieber is being spectacular this year. Only Bauer is possibly being better. Trevor Williams, 1-3, 3.98 ERA, 1.23 whip, but he's pitching much better. Walla Walla Deuce says I need to make salutes more often. Backdoor cover. That was the only good thing that happened for me yesterday was the Knuckleheads. Indians bullpen 2.63 ERA, 1.00 whip. Pirates bullpen bad, 5.96 ERA, 1.61 whip. Indians won 5 straight. Bieber 54 strikeouts over his first 5 starts. That's the third most in that many starts in the major since 1906. Wow. He's had at least 8 strikeouts in each of his past 5 starts. He got lit up in his only career start against Pittsburgh, but who cares? This is tiny sample size. Williams has allowed 3 earned runs or fewer in each of his 4 starts for the Pirates. Brian, there's DJ Big Boss in the house. Yeah, backdoor cover. This is our new time, 10 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday through Saturday. All right, I'm going to take this first 5 under. I think first 5 under 4. You want to be able to win on the first if they get to 4. But the Pirates aren't hitting righties. Bieber looks very strong. 7 scoreless, 3 hit innings, 1 walk. All right, I am going to take this first 5 under 4. Huh. TJ saying Bieber K rate way up. It's way up. All right, Brewers Twins 85 Fahrenheit clear, 9 miles per hour, sideways out to left field. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Brewers Twinkies. Twinkies open up at minus 130. They're now minus 120. 10-cent. No, excuse me. They're now minus 110. A 20-cent move towards Woodruff and the Brew Crew. Yes, Jimmy Cece. Thank you for your positivity, man. I'm starting to feel a little better. But, 3 weeks of profits wiped out in one day. Hurts. 85 Fahrenheit clear, 9 miles per hour, sideways out to left. Brandon Woodruff looked very good this year. 101, 3.16 ERA, 1.05 whip, 30 Ks, 7 walks, and 25 2/3. Berrios has not looked good, and 13 walks and 24 in a third. Brewers versus righties, 203, 612 OPS. Twins versus righties, 236, 749 OPS. Brewers bullpen and Twins bullpen both very good. Berrios walked 7 batters over his last 9 1/3 and allowed 8 runs. Boss Nick, it went bad. Let's not talk about it. I understand why the market's moved towards Woodruff. I mean, Berrios could get right so quickly. DX Filer liked the over yesterday, likes the over again today. Is Berrios going to get right now? You get minus 105 on the Brewers and Woodruff. Can we now say that Woodruff over Berrios gives us a pitching advantage? I think we can. Dom says, what line do you get? I think first 5 Brewers. DX5 says Berrios is going to get right in the trash can. Noli is on this first 5 under 4.5. Yeah, and the Twins are starting to deal with injuries. They're starting to deal with injuries. Do the Brew Crew get another win here? There's Matt Randall in the house. Okay, I think the Brewers can take care of business here. But is this where Berrios gets right? Is this where Berrios gets right? I think Brewers, they didn't need to pull out the big guns from their bullpen yesterday. Is this a Woodruff double up, or is that just crazy? I guess it's too late too late to make a move on the full game. It's moved 20 cents, and you had plus money before. I'll just take Brewers first 5, Woodruff over Berrios. Can we trust that Berrios is going to still be wild? All right, I'm on the Brewers first 5. All right, let's move on to Dodgers, Mariners, Kershaw, Kikuchi. So the last time the Mariners went up with a lefty against the Dodgers, it was Gonzalez, who's their best pitcher. And they shut down the Dodgers because the Dodgers don't hit lefties. 213, 646 OPS. Can we trust Kikuchi here with an extra week of rest after his neck issues to slow down? Because Kershaw is throwing 94 miles an hour all of a sudden. That's the fastest he's thrown in 2 years. Mariners don't hit lefties. Dodgers don't hit lefties. You have to think that Kershaw can just run through this lineup. Dodgers have a 7-game winning streak snapped. Kershaw 3-0, 2.70 ERA, 3 starts against the Mariners. You're right, Chef. I agree, DJ Big Boss. Mr. Gokster, no score in the first inning. I'm going to take a first 5 under in Dodgers Mariners. And that's not up yet. How is that not up? Whenever it's up, I'm expecting a 4.5. First 5 under, 4.5. I'm still not going to trust this Mariners bullpen, 6.34 ERA, 1.56 whip, so I'll just keep it first 5. And we did this well with Gonzalez against them. Mr. Wisdom has under 4.5 minus 120. If I get that, I'll book it. All right, let's move on to Red Sox Orioles. We have to keep moving. We have Bobano joining us in 18 minutes to talk NHL and NBA. Red Sox Orioles, 79 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour, sideways, slightly out to left field is the wind. Boston and Eovaldi open up minus 135 and now minus 145, a 10-cent move in their direction. Wojciechowski and Orioles, Red Sox. This total opened up at 10. It's now at 9.5. And we have the taint play of the day. Twins money line is the taint play of the day. Dodgers run line, Indians run line, and Rockies money line. There's Richie Rich in the house. Great to see you, Richie. Taint alert. Taint alert. Twins money line. Taint is in. Taint is in. Ty Clinton says, "What's the best first 5 unders on today's card?" I would just work with. I would take Noli over what I'm doing, or you could bet the spots that Noli and I are correlated with. There's Manny R in the house. Great to see you, Manny. All right. Red Sox, Orioles, Eovaldi, Wojciechowski. Red Sox first righties, 246, 731 OPS. Orioles first righties, 258, 765 OPS. Santana just continues to hit. Both teams have bad bullpens. Red Sox ended a 9-game losing streak with their win over the Phillies yesterday. Eovaldi's not looked good. His K to walk ratio is nice, but that's about it. Matt Randall says Canucks game last night was crazy. Yeah, man, the team's got heart. Of all the 4-1 against the Orioles lifetime, 5.10 ERA. TJ says Baltimore first 5 under 5.5. Eovaldi brings something today, and Woj pitching well. Matthew Januski says Brewers still can't hit righties. You're right, they can't. But with the amount of walks Berrios is giving up, Wojciechowski has always pitched well against the Red Sox. Gave up 1 hit against them in 7 1/3 on July 21st. Last out, 3 runs, 5 hits over 5 innings, 7-3 victory over the Nats on Saturday. And Eovaldi did look good in that first start against the Orioles, that opening day start. 1 run, 5 hits over 6 innings with a walk, 4 Ks. That is an interesting look, first 5 under. An interesting look. There is a 6 on the board, mostly 5.5s. Mr. Wisdom says Sox first 5 run line looks good. And Dom Ricci just locked in Rockies first 5 under 6.5 and Yanks under 5.5 first 5. I get that first 5 under. I just don't trust Eovaldi right now. And TJ found at 6. If I could get a 6, I would take it. All right, let's move on to Rangers, Padres. I was thinking that we might see this. Joe Yurkovich says, I remember Pete making second half plays, and he did a great job of it, Joe. He did a great job of it. Only a couple books give him out, but yeah, he did a great job of it. And Shaft says, Rockies Astros first 5 under 6.5 is minus 108 on FanDuel. Mark Rosado, I'm with you on this first 5 under Rangers, Padres, but I didn't see it on Noli's card. Maybe I missed it. Did he have it on his card? Let's just quickly check if Noli has it on his card. Here we go. Yes, he does have it. Okay, so here, this is Noli's action for his first 5 unders. No, Dom, I took minus a half and minus 120. I agree. Gibson he's a tough pitcher to figure out. He's had one bad start this year against Minnesota. And he's someone that I always find tricky. Lamet should just mow through these Rangers. Rangers don't hit righties at all. 211, 642 OPS. Lost with Lance Lynn yesterday, first 5. Extremely irritating. Martin Bradstreet says, no way Yankees dropped 3 in a row. Dav Fenn says Rangers are kind of being punked by the Padres so much for the revenge angle. And Paco Lila says, I like first 5 under as well. Just worried about the Padres' bats right now. Because they're just rolling. But Gibson has been good. Padres looking to complete the 4-game sweep. Tatis, 12 homers in 26 games. 12 home runs are the most by a 21-year-old in the team's first 26 games of the season since Mel Ott had 10 in that span in 1929. Jesus. Lamet is the ace that we all imagined he could be a couple years ago. Allowed 1 earned run in each of his first 5 starts. Averaging 11.4 strikeouts per 9. And Bright says Yankees will get swept. I like Dinelson Lamet just to roll through these guys. But I have no first 5 up. Do I have one now? I do now. Under 4.5 at minus 110. And curious to see what the minus a half is. Minus 135. I won't do that. All right, I'm going to take first 5 under 4.5 here. First 5 under 4.5 in Rangers, Padres. Both bullpens have been eaten up. All right, let's move on to Reds, Cardinals. We are making good time here. We are doing well here. Sonny Gray versus Adam Wainwright. 79 Fahrenheit clear, 4 miles per hour in. And Joe Yurkovich, I like that look. Joe Yurkovich is in. And then we have Spenny Penny Bombs. NHL action in. All right. There's Beach Boss in the house. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day, Cincinnati. We have hit the spreadsheet play of the day, Cincinnati. And T. Anderson says Tampa Niners going to be in the NFL final, mark my words. The Niners are going to be very good. All right, let's go. There's Rude Jude in the house. Mr. Goku says no score, first inning, Cincinnati, St. Louis. Book it, bank it, Jack. Wainwright still so strong at home. This first 5 total is at 4.5 as well. Gray, full game opens up at minus 135. It's now minus 150. A 15-cent move towards Gray. Oh, you put your basketball up too? Spenny, I missed it. Spenny, can you hit me with that again? If you don't mind, sorry to ask you that. There's Corey Simmons. Focus on your bets in the house. I'd like to see your... There's Mark Unkefer. Mr. Wisdom has first 5 under 4 plus 100. 4.5 seems nice with these two. Sorry, let me just quickly move the first 5. Seems nice. Oh, but it's 4. I got 4 plus 110. I'm not gonna hammer that. Reds versus righties, 214, 738 OPS. They got Moose back in the lineup. Cardinals versus righties, 234, 700 OPS. Reds bullpen's been terrible. 6 ERA, 1.33 whip. Cardinals bullpen, 3.99 ERA, 1.01 whip. They'd be nice. Sonny Gray, 2.05 ERA, 0.91 whip. 45 Ks and 30 2/3. Mr. Wisdom, 4.5 minus 135. Oh, we got Dutch Boy Fresh's NBA action. We got to get Dutch Boy Fresh on the show. Get him to break down some NBA with me. Heat minus 4, Magic plus 12.5, and Blazers first quarter money line for our Dutch Boy Fresh. Let's see what Spenny's doing. Yeah, Tampa Bay scores first. I was thinking that it might be too juiced because they're the road team. Bam, over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Miami minus 4. Rockets over 225. I was interested to see that market, to see that total being bet down. I look forward to talking about that. With our Bobano. Well, I would sure like a 4.5 here, and I would bet it. But the first 5 is at 4. I actually think that Wainwright at home, with the way he's pitching, that there's value taking these Cardinals. I think there's value taking these St. Louis Cardinals. Razor sharp picks in the house. I probably shouldn't go up against Sonny Gray, but Cardinals just don't hit righties. But they have such a big bullpen advantage. If Wainwright keeps it close, and you're getting this big plus line, getting plus 130 on this. But I don't want to go up against the spreadsheet play of the day. So, okay. I'm going to take that off. No first 5 under. All right, Diamondbacks at A's, Young versus Minaya. Minaya had his first decent start of the year last out. Diamondbacks, A's, Diamondbacks 13-12, A's 17-8, looking very strong. 68 Fahrenheit, clear, 9 miles per hour, out to straightaway center in the Coliseum. Let's see what we're dealing with. D-backs, A's, Diamondbacks open up at plus 125. That's where they stand right now. And the total opened up at 9. It's still 9s, but there is 1 8.5 that has creeped on the board. And Razor Sharp Picks rolling with us tonight. Razor Sharp Picks will be going live with the boys, live horse racing here on Odds HQ. Gas Station Sushi, Paul Tucci will be sitting side by side in the purple spaceship live. There's Smack by the Mac in the house. Great to see you, Smack by the Mac. Rude Jude says, I got Cardinals circled today. I like the Cardinals at plus 130. I think that makes sense. I just don't want to go up against a spreadsheet play of the day that's been so successful for Ron Crawford. All right, Alex Young, 1-0, 3.86 ERA, 1.14 whip. Sean Minaya, 7.65 ERA, 1.60 whip. Diamondbacks don't hit lefties, 244, 646 OPS. We saw Luzardo just roll through them yesterday. Dom, what just went to 5.5? Wow, and look at that. FanDuel giving great prices out. First 5 under 4.5 for Schaff. There's Chris Smith in the house. The total in the Yanks game. Interesting. Gio Mercedes, the spreadsheet play today is Cincinnati. So the A's are just eating at home. And Manaea has lasted 5 innings just once this year. But it was his most recent start. 3 runs, 2 earned, 3 hits, 5 innings against the Giants on Saturday. For some reason, I thought the Giants weren't hitting lefties, and they are. Steve Priest leaning Arizona and over. So the Manaea will probably get his shit together. 7:30 p.m. tonight for the Pones. Just feel like Manaea's got to get. Mr. Go says Young is a question mark. Now, the Diamondbacks just had Luzardo, a lefty they couldn't hit. Now they have Manaea. I guess Manaea start getting right before you back them, especially at a favorite price. So let's leave that alone. We have 4 minutes till Bobano will be joining us when we break into NBA and NHL. Let's talk Angels, Giants, 67 Fahrenheit clear, 11 miles per hour out to left center at Oracle Park. There were question marks whether it was going to be Heaney or Suarez. It will be Suarez. Jose Suarez making his MLB debut. Let's take a look at him here. Jose Suarez. Oh. Let's take a look at – oh, no, sorry. I said he's making his MLB debut. That is not true. He pitched last year. Poorly, very poorly. Very poorly. But at Salt Lake in the PCL League, and we know how hard it is to pitch in the Pacific Coast League, he pitched well. 3.62 ERA, 1.27 whip. Then he came up to the Angels and got abused. Going up, sorry, is it facts that Gaussman is who he'll be going up against? It is Gaussman. Gaussman's looked better this year. Tracy Tucker says, take the Miami Heat to go over tonight. We're going to break down NBA here very, very shortly. Suarez, Gaussman 1.17 whip. Angels smashing righties, and Giants hitting lefties hard. Angels hitting 244, 787 OPS versus righties. Giants hitting 254, 796 OPS versus lefties. Angels bullpen, Giants bullpen terrible. Mr. Wisdom said Gaussman with 11 Ks through 5 last game. He's pitching well. And the Giants hit lefties. Is it worth a little shot? Fading Suarez. Oh, no, the Giants are favored. You can't take the Giants favored. It's crazy. Crazy talk. Not a chance will I be on the Giants favorite. All right, that is our MLB card. So Rays to score first is too juiced. Blue Jays team total over in that game 1 against Spencer Howard. After travel, getting back to Buffalo, early game. No, I'm gonna take the question mark off of that. I like it, Dom. That's the first move that I did make on this card. Mets first 5 minus a half. Indians Pirates first 5 under 4. God, 4 runs. I got you, Dutch Boy Fresh. I will definitely 100% check it out. We'll get you on here. Definitely. Nightly NBA show, Dutch Boy Fresh, not Trawam. I'll check it out for sure. Is 4 runs just too low? You know what? The 4 is just too low with Bieber versus Williams. I can't take it. I'm taking that out. I'm not going to take the Indians Pirates under. It's just too low. All right, I am going to take Brewers first 5. Barrios has been a mess. I'm going to back Woodruff. He's the ace of the staff. First 5 under 4.5 in Dodgers Mariners. First 5 under 4.5 in Rangers Padres. There we go. 4 bets. That's better after yesterday's debacle. Martin Bradstreet says, no, I don't think so, Jimmy. It's just a little too low for me. Not that it can't be 3 runs through 5, but it's just a little too low. Trevor Williams is not an ace. Bieber should be able to shut them down. It's just a little too low. Trevor Williams could allow 3 runs easily. And then if Bieber gets touched for 1, that's a push. I'm comfortable with my 4 bets. All right, let's go over them once more. Pirates team total under is a definite look. Let's see what that is very quickly. Especially with that spectacular bullpen. It's 2.5. Not giving anything away for free here. It's ridiculous, 2.5. Okay, 4 bets for me. I am on Mets first 5 -0.5, -120. Brewers first 5 at -105. Dodgers, Mariners first 5 under 4.5. And Rangers, Padres first 5 under 4.5. 4 bets. Joe Yurkovich on a team total over. Keep an eye on what moves Joe is making. Steve Priest says Gray Wainwright first 5 under, full game under. Let's take one last look at that. 8. Yeah, the bullpen. Bright Ware loves the Twins. Look, I could be it could be wrong here. This could be the spot where Berrios gets right. And damn, right when I see Matt Randall play the day Twins money line. Of course, I saw that already, and look, Twins are a good team. Don Reach says I like the Cards outright. I had them yesterday. I just think Woodruff is a better pitcher right now than Berrios. Woodruff is the ace of that staff. Gio Mercedes on the Cleveland first 5 under for sure. And Chris Smith says Berrios got to get right. Michael Patillo asking if anyone's on the Orioles. I am not on the Orioles. But Wojciechowski's pitched well against the Red Sox, and I can understand why someone does it. Chili Dog Dooley says, can't bet against Brooker right now, Jimmy. Be confident. It's just I'm coming off a rough day. All right, 4 bets for me in MLB. 4 bets. Let's move on to NBA. It's been a middling season. The last 2 years in front of you guys have beaten NBA by double-digit units. And this year, we're sitting just up 3.52 units on the year. 136 wins, 123 losses, 52.5%. My ROI is plus 1.36%. My average line is minus 108. Yesterday, we went 1-1, down 0.20 units. And I feel like Prince of the City is my disappointed father watching me believe in Embiid. But Embiid just didn't stick to what he was doing, and he got gassed after the first quarter. So I went for rebounds and assists. I was going to go points, rebounds, and assists, but that was minus 145. Annoying. Cash, Brooklyn Nets, first quarter very easily. And Chris Henn saying Berrios sucks. And Spenny Pennybomb says you can't trust the process, Jimmy. And Prince is at gas, like I said. You were right. Ulysses Hayes, man, this guy's been eating. San Fran, San Diego, nice job. Okay. Much love, Chili Dog Dooley. All right, let's bring in our NBA, NHL expert, a man we know and love. Let's get Bobano in the house. Bobano, what's happening, my man?
Good to be with you, Jimmy. Thursdays moving forward every week with you. It's going to be great to get back into that routine again because it's always fun breaking down sports with you. And it's been a up and down. Tell you what, NBA, Jimmy's been phenomenal. I can't have started the NBA playoffs any better. It's been excellent. Celtics back-to-back games won with them. Dallas Mavericks last night. You would have told me, Jimmy, with being on Dallas last night +6, that I would have cashed that bet. They would have won the game outright. Not only cover the spread, but win the game outright with Luka Doncic stapled to the bench with 5 fouls for the majority of the fourth quarter. I would have said you're nuts. I would have no chance to win that bet if that's the case. But Seth Curry and Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway and Boban and all these guys for the Mavericks stepping up on their bench. Finney Smith, their bench was outstanding last night. Couldn't believe how they just absolutely took apart a usually elite Clipper defense. That wasn't the case, but looking forward to it. Hockey stunk for me 2 days ago. I had a disaster day in hockey Tuesday, but a much better day yesterday at the Tampa over. Carolina, Boston's the one game I lost. I had Colorado puck line, Arizona, Colorado over. I had Vancouver in the over. Canucks, baby, 3-2 series lead against the Blues. Wow. So I was happy to see that. So it's a much better hockey day for me yesterday, but ready to get going on this Thursday, Jimmy. And unlike Tom Brenneman, I've got a career to go to today and a job to wake up to. So let's go.
Horrifying. Those are just horrifying. Let's go into something very quickly here. To win the series right now, Mavericks are +300. What do you think of that?
It's a series now, and I honestly think they have a chance now. They have, if you look back, if you look at the history books and statistics of teams offensively in the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks are right near the top in terms of the greatest offensive seasons that one NBA team's had in a single season. That's how good they've been offensively. And you look at it, they've got shooters inside, they got the outside perimeter game. They've got guys that can score inside. They've got 2 tremendous, stars to lead them in Luka Doncic and now a healthy Kristaps Porzingis. And the Clipper defense, certainly you can expect them to make adjustments going into Game 3 and be better. But you're going to give me one of the, and every record book will tell you this, you're going to give me one of the greatest offensive teams, teams that have had one of the greatest offensive seasons in NBA history, Jimmy, like the Dallas Mavericks have had, and you're going to give me a price like that to say they can win a series. I think they've got the chance. Now you're going to get the best from the Clippers in Game 3, but like I say, when you can flat out shoot, and it's important also to make note, this is not true home court. Like the Clippers aren't going to get the home fans rallying them in the next game. I find that if you can shoot the lights out, you're just gifted offensively. You've got guys that can flat out make shots, especially at crunch time in the fourth quarter in this environment, in this bubble environment, and you've got great guard play. Think of all the factors, Jimmy, that lead teams to win in the NCAA tournament as well, which I think you can compare the way the NBA environment is right now to the March Madness a little bit. I think you've got a real chance, and I think that's why we're going to see more upsets, and you can flat out shoot the ball. You've got guards. Dallas does. They've got a shot, in my opinion.
They have a shot. I still feel good about my Clippers to win it all in my pocket, but Dallas is very strong. I mean, these are the strongest 7 and 8 seeds in NBA history, the way I see it. And I think that will bode well if they can get by. If it helps to play against a really tough team early, because I don't, do the Rockets get past the Mavericks or the Blazers if they met up in a series?
That's a really, really good question. I've got to really think about whether that's a yes or a no answer for me. That is a tricky one. I want to caution one thing about Dallas. While I was impressed yesterday, and the bench stepped up, and they're a great offensive team, and they were better defensively, but man, there were some wide open looks that the Clippers just failed to put in. I mean, Paul George had so many wide open threes that he just were not going down. The iron unkind, as Tim Brando would say, just absolutely. And on other nights those shots go down. So. There were some missed shots that played into that loss last night for the LA Clippers, shots that normally guys like Paul George would make.
And Dutch Boy Fresh makes a good call on Beverly not in the lineup. I mean, he's so important to the defensive end. All right, let's move on and start hammering this. We're going to start with the Heat Pacers. I do see some similarities to the Celtics beating up on the Sixers. I just think the Heat are a better basketball team right now. East, first round, game 2, Miami up 1-0. Heat pace in the bubble, 100.69 possessions a game. Pacers bubble pace in the 8 games, 102.38. This series in one game, very slow pace, 93 possessions a game. Let's see what we're dealing with. The Heat open up at -5. They're now at -4. That's where I got them. There was 1 3.5 on the board for a short period of time. This total opens up at 214.5 and is now at 215.5. And the Heat just look good. There's no other way of putting it. Butler, 28. Dragic, 24. Tyler Hero, NBA postseason debut, 15. Iguodala, upsetting TJ Warren, defending TJ Warren. And that lets Butler have energy offensively. When Butler has to focus all his energy on shutting down TJ, he's just not as – he doesn't excel offensively. Iguodala is a nice pickup. But Warren, 22 points, 18 field goal attempts. The Pacers are unbeaten this season when Warren gets 23 or more shots. Bam, 17 points, 10 rebounds. We already saw a prop look from our Spenny Penny Bombs on Bam, over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Malcolm Brogdon looked good, but the big question mark around these Pacers is Oladipo, poked in the left eye, went to the hospital. It's no serious damage, but he couldn't see out of it, and they're not expecting him to be back on the court. And then the Pacers reserves without Sabonis, starting or on the bench, or starting or Miles Turner on the bench, whatever. The Pacers reserves look weak. -20 combined for the Pacers reserves. Take it away, Bobano. Heat Pacers.
Yeah, NBA playoffs, especially when you're handicapping game 2, there's always a key decision to make. And our good pal Teddy Covers, we know him well, always, as something I learned from him, the zigzag theory. Everybody talks about the zigzag theory. Bet on the team that lost the previous game in game 2. Do you do it? Do you not do it? And when do you do it? He always said, and I agree with him here, you bet the zigzag theory in game 2, and you bet the team that lost game 1 in competitive series, in series involving teams that you think are pretty close, pretty evenly matched. That's when it makes sense to bet the zigzag theory. We saw it with Utah yesterday. We saw it obviously with Dallas getting the job done. I didn't take the zigzag theory in the Philly-Boston series. I laid it with Boston in game 2 because I said that's not a competitive series. Boston's better than Philadelphia, flat out. They're the better team. Other than Embiid at the center spot, Boston's got the better player at every other position in the starting 5 in that series. And I'm kind of feeling that same way about Miami, Indiana. I just think Miami's better. And I won't be zigzagging today in game 2. And I won't be looking toward Indiana plus the points. Again, you could argue Miami is, I think the power rating's been jacked up a little bit. You could argue Miami but based on power ratings, should only be maybe 2.5 instead of 4. I do think there's a little bit of a tax involved, but when you look at it, I think Indiana has a tough matchup in this series, which has gotten even tougher, as you mentioned, with Sabonis out, a lighter bench, the fact that they can't match up well against Bam in particular, as well against him down low. Jimmy Butler playing at a tremendous level. And I think he's got a point to prove. I mean, he's trying to hush the beef he's got with TJ Warren and say, that's not a big deal. I'm worried about winning games. And I think that's true. But deep down inside, the competitive, son of a gun that Jimmy Butler is, he'd love nothing more than to have Miami probably walk through this team. Yeah, Duncan Robinson, good point by Shane. You put it up on the screen, Jimmy. That's a really good point. He didn't even shoot well in game 1. Maybe look at his props. We know he can get it going. Duncan Robinson can have a 6 of 7, 6 of 8 type of day from three-point land when he's got it rolling. And I think he'll shoot a lot better. And I just don't see that perimeter firepower. That's the thing about Miami. They're good inside. They've got the perimeter game. I don't see that same perimeter game from Indiana. Victor Oladipo's health is also a concern. Nate McMillan saying he's going to be a game-time decision for this game. And if he plays, will he be ready to play at a very high level? They're going to need a lot, obviously, from Miles Turner. They're going to need a lot from Malcolm Brogdon in this game. TJ Warren is going to have to be big. I thought TJ Warren was the one Pacer that played quite well in game 1. They're going to need that and then some from him. But this is the series that I feel very similar, Jimmy, about this series as I do Philly-Boston. I just think Miami's better, and I'm not looking to zigzag here, just like I wasn't looking to zigzag in game 2 with Philly and Boston. So I do have a bet here, half unit. Small bet. Because, again, I'm not sure the value's great, but small bet for me, Heat -4.
Yeah, I put 150 on it. I'm comfortable with it. I just think, and I agree with you, I think that this Heat team has an edge where I just don't see them getting loosey-goosey. Like, it's the Clippers, Mavs. I was like, man, the Clippers they're not into it. But Butler is extremely competitive, and he will do whatever he wants to sweep this team. He wants to wave again. He wants to wave at TJ while he walks off the court with his head down. I like this a lot. Heat -4. Very comfortable here. What do you think about this total? It was a dangerous number for me. It opened at 214.5 and is now at 215.5. Did I get that right? The 214 to 215? Yes. What do you think of this total?
And another thing, too, Heat first quarter, Heat first half. I'm interested because all the quotes after game one from Spoelstra, from Butler, Iguodala, a lot of the veterans on the Heat, we started out terribly. And it's true. I mean, they didn't play well at the very beginning of the game. We've got to have a better start here in game number 2. So that's got me leaning in the direction of maybe adding on with some first quarter, first half looks on the Miami Heat as well. But as far as the total, look, if you had the under in game one, you were biting your fingernails, and that was tough if you had the over. I think you needed 4 points in the final minute, and you only got 2, and the game ended up staying under the total. So it was a really, really tough loss if you had the over. I think Miami is going to want to be better defensively early on. I mean, Indiana really shredded them in the first quarter. This could be a first quarter, first half under look for me, and a full game under look. I'd lean to the under. It's not a strong opinion, but I do think Miami's got a much better defensive game in them than they showed in game one, even though they did win game one of this series. And so that's what has me leaning under, but it's not a strong stance either way.
Joe Yerkovich says Sharps on Pacers per reverse line movement, and also I just refreshed. It is at 217.
And keep in mind, if Oladipo is hampered or limited, that's really going to enhance the chances of this game staying under.
Wow, I like it. There's predictions guy in the house. All right, Heat -4. We are both on it, and T. Anderson said Sharps no, Pacers winning. All right, let's move on to Thunder Rockets. Game 2, Houston up 1-0, and the Rockets in the bubble, the 8 games in the bubble pace were 107.35 possessions a game. They were the fastest team in the bubble. The Thunder 101.06, so less than 6 possessions, or a little over 6 possessions less a game. In the series, game 1, there was 97.5 possessions in the game, and it was the Rockets' shooting percentage. And this is something that Intex has been talking about, why he's hitting these overs on a consistent basis, the overs that are under 230, that he's hitting them. And it's not because the pace is speeding up. It's because the shooting percentages are speeding up, because there's no travel, and because it's all basketball all the time, and because they're just practicing nonstop. 52 shots from 3 the Rockets put up. I was on the over in that game. Final 123-108. And again, we see this total dropping like it did in game 1. 227.5 opener. It's now 225.5. The Rockets open at -2 now, now -2.5 at some books. Waiting to see if Dort is going to come back. He's one of their best perimeter defenders for the Thunder, and they need it. Terrence Ferguson does not look good coming off the bench. There's going to be no Westbrook, and it's Eric Gordon time. He's being awesome, and I was looking at his props as a possible bet in this game. I've not made a move on Thunder Rockets. Bobano, are you going to make a move on Thunder Rockets?
Yeah, and I have, actually. And I know that, look, it's probably about as ugly as you could have expected from the Oklahoma City Thunder in game 1. I mean, they just got blown out, and they had no answers defensively for what the Rockets were doing. The Rockets really had a good game plan. They really tried to spread them out. That's exactly what they did. And even without Russell Westbrook, it was huge games from James Harden and company. The three-point shooting got going. They couldn't keep the basketball in front of them. I mean, it was just one line to the lane after another, right to the rim for the Rockets in that game. The Thunder, after the game, were maintaining positivity, saying, we know where we screwed up defensively. We know where we went wrong. We know what we've got to clean up and what mistakes, what errors we have to correct here going into game 2 tonight. Now, the question is, do they execute what they're preaching? That's the big difference. It's nice to say all these things, right, Jimmy, in the post game, that we know what assignments we've missed, we know where our breakdowns and defensive coverage came, but if you don't actually execute it on the court, and it's not easy. You're talking about a 3-point heavy shooting team like Houston, that when they have one of those games, you've got a very tough time beating them. And you mentioned Luguentz Dort, and that is a guy that stands out like a sore thumb. He is arguably their best defender, and you could probably say he's their best three-point defender on this Oklahoma City Thunder team. He didn't play in Game 1. Now, the good news is there's a chance he returns today for Game 2. They're apparently going to see how he feels in the shoot-around right before the game, and Billy Donovan's going to make a decision at that time whether he's in. And guess what? Guess who I'm looking at for? And then nobody really played all that well for the Thunder. Chris Paul was okay, but I've seen him play better. Steven Adams was good in the first half. I thought after that, I expected a little bit better from him. Even though it was props cast, it was a quiet, type of day production-wise for him. And more than anything, you see the sign in the background, Hamilton Proud. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, man, you got to be a lot better. I believe he will. For the Oklahoma City Thunder now. He shot terribly in Game 1. I don't think that'll duplicate itself. Here's what I know about Houston and Mike D'Antoni and this team that's been just such a playoff underachiever. How many times how many fingers do you need to count the number of times they've put the foot on the throat of somebody and gone up 2-0 in a series? I can't remember. Oklahoma City's got hard. This is a good team. This is a better team than they showed in Game 1. I'd like it more with Dort in there, but even if he doesn't play, 18-6 against the spread is dogs of 4.5 or less. 20-12 ATS off a loss this year, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not buying Houston just rolling over this team again. I think Oklahoma City's a lot better today. I'm taking them plus 2.5. And if Dort doesn't play, Jimmy, I'm going to go with the over again because I did cash the over in Game 1 with Dort being out because I thought that's going to really hurt them with three-point shooting of the Rockets, and it's exactly what happened. So if Dort doesn't play, I'm going to add on the over. If he does play and he does return today, I'm just going to stick with OKC plus 2.5. I really think they even it up today.
I don't question the heart and the character of this Thunder team because we've seen it all year. But Harden, the way he's rolling right now, just opens everything up for Eric Gordon. And Gordon, he got those points easily yesterday or 2 days ago. He goes for 21 and 7 for 17 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. He can be better than this, and he gets so many opportunities because you have to spend all this special attention to Harden and not let Harden beat you. I think that Gordon props are going to pay. And I think with Westbrook out of the lineup, they're going to play until the market corrects himself. And if you look at the models, Gordon's not expected to go 20 points per night, but with Westbrook out of the lineup, I think he does. Johnny Cage says those threes aren't going to drop today. I'm going to make 2 bets here on Gordon props. I'm going to take over. This reminds me of like Ingles when Conley's not in the lineup and the market can't adjust properly, at least at first, and I don't think they're going to adjust now.
He was taking a lot more shots in Game 2 yesterday, Ingles, and making them. And the Jazz, it's amazing. The Jazz, you wouldn't think Joe Ingles is a difference maker. He's the X factor. Yeah, he is, especially offensively without Bogdanovich out there on the basketball court now for the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell can't do it on his own. He's got to have someone helping him out offensively at that end of the court, and finally Ingles did yesterday.
Slow-mo Joe,
yeah.
Okay, I'm making 2 moves on this game. I'm going to take Gordon over 17.5 points and over 2.5 threes. Over 17.5 points, over 2.5 threes, and Bobano on the Thunder. All right, let's move on to Magic Bucks. Orlando leading the series 1-0 puts a big smile on my face. The pace was fast. It was exactly what the pace was for the Bucks in the 8 games in the bubble, 106.74 possessions a game, which is right around what they were all year long, and it was by far the fastest pace of any of the playoff games. Magic out east. Magic 101.31 possessions a game during their 8 games in the bubble, but had no problem speeding it up because it was all Vooch all the time. He joins Shaq, Dwight Howard, and T-Mac as the only Magic players to go 35-10 in a playoff game. And Antetokounmpo, it wasn't his fault, but the 5 turnovers didn't help. Chris Middleton did not play well, 14 points on 4 of 12 shooting. I expect him to play better, but so does the betting market. If you look at his player props, they're very high. I was shocked. I was like, oh, maybe this is a nice bounce back spot. But Middleton, 21.5 points is his player prop, and it's minus 130 to the over. It's heavily juiced to the over. Bucks 12-4 after a loss in the regular season and won those 12 games by an average of 14.2 points. They were a great field goal percentage team during the season, third in the NBA, while the Magic were terrible, but it was the other way around in game one. This is a very interesting spot. I have not made a move on it. The total opened at 227.5, is now 226.5, and the Bucks go from minus 12.5 to minus 13. Bobano, Magic Bucks.
Yeah, everybody and their brother knows Bucks off a loss and how good that's been against the spread. It's been phenomenal. The track record for the Bucks in this kind of spot and this kind of situation. But you know what's also been just as bad? Double-digit chalk here in the bubble in Orlando. It's been terrible. I mean, laying double digits is not something that's been anywhere near profitable here so far in Orlando. And look at the Raptors yesterday, 11.5 they were, and they failed to cover against Brooklyn. But the double-digit favorites have a losing point spread record so far here in Orlando. This is one of those games where I feel Milwaukee is locked in early. First quarter on the Bucks makes sense. More than anything, first quarter. I don't even know first half, Jimmy, if I would go that far with Milwaukee. Minus 7.5 first half. I might just go minus 4.5 with the first quarter on Milwaukee and think the first 12 minutes they're just locked in. Because, they've had dips in intensity. They've had dips in energy throughout the games here in Orlando. And in game one, that team, where was the spark? Where was the energy? I mean, the body language was bad. The defense was shredded. Now, Orlando also shot out of their minds. You can't expect the Orlando Magic to duplicate the shooting performance they got in game one either. It was just one of those. They don't usually shoot like plus 50% from three-point range. It's just been such out of character for the Orlando Magic to do something like that, to have that kind of game. I can't expect that to happen again, especially with an ornery, angry Milwaukee team. But I'll tell you what, in terms of the full game, the 12.5, there's no way I can lay the full 12.5 with Milwaukee. I think, yes, they're going to be angry. Yes, they probably do win the game and even up the series. But this team just goes in and out of, they're locked in and they go on a 10-2 spurt, and then coming out of a timeout, the other team goes on a 12-2 run or something like that. This has been happening to Milwaukee time and time and time again. And I'm going to question it again. Giannis Antetokounmpo, if you just really guard the hell out of him, Chris Middleton, usually I like him, but he's been up and down throughout the break. I've never been a big Eric Bledsoe fan. Pat Connaughton's capable, but another streak shooter. I like the Lopez brothers, Brooke and Robin, but again, sometimes they're MIA. There's just too many passengers at times on this Bucks team, especially when Giannis is getting such attention, and if nobody else is really feeling it and in rhythm, playing their game at that time, Milwaukee's vulnerable to lose to anybody, including a team like Orlando, and we saw that in game one. So I'm just going to bank in this game. My one bet is bank on Milwaukee to come out angry, energized, and focused early. But if they slough off again, Jimmy, second quarter and beyond, it wouldn't shock me. So I'm just going to go with Milwaukee minus 4.5 first quarter. Hope they're ready to go from the opening tip after what happened in game one. But this 12.5, I'm not even going near that. It's too frightening. And double-digit chalk has been a point spread money loser here in the bubble so far.
They're begging us to take Orlando plus 13. It's really hard for me not to press the button on Orlando plus 13. By the way, our guy, Lowbagger Sun Dizzle, hit the Orlando money line, Portland money line, Miami Heat money line parlay, $50, paid out $2,300. It's so hard for me not to take Orlando plus 13. It's very, very hard for me not to do that.
It's got that feeling to me, Jimmy, where I worry that day late, dollar short, theory comes into play here. Like game one was the spot because, again, Milwaukee had been locked up the one seed in the East for weeks. They've been resting everybody the last several kind of like what we saw with the Lakers in game one. Lakers and Bucks, the 2-1 seeds. They rested everybody after clinching the 1 seed. They had no rhythm, no cohesion, no energy. They failed to ramp up the intensity to a playoff level for that game one. Milwaukee failed. Lakers failed. And now it feels like if you're betting against Milwaukee and the Lakers today, maybe you're a day late and a dollar short to the party. Maybe, but again, we'll have to wait and see.
13 is a lot of points, and we see Vooch dominating down low. All right, no move for me at this point. Let's move on to Lakers Blazer. Actually, very quickly, Orlando Milwaukee. This total, would you, if you had a free play, would you go over it or under it?
Probably. They should want to play better defense, Milwaukee, but again, they play fast. And there was a time, Orlando, about a few weeks ago. Now it's cooled off since, but there was a time, Jimmy, about a couple of weeks ago, Orlando was on this 14-0 streak to the over. Like, it was absolutely insane. It got snapped. Then they had 2 games that went under, and then they've had, since the 14-0 over streak got snapped, they've had 3 overs and 3 unders. So it's cooled off a little, but you're still talking about a team that's 17-3 to the over in their last 20 basketball games, the Orlando Magic, and it's because their defense has fallen off and their offense actually did pick it up, and they played a little bit faster as well. Without Aaron Gordon, it's impacted the Orlando Magic's pace. They're playing a little faster. They're getting the ball up and down the court a little bit more, and that's contributed to this overrun that they've been on as well. So it's a conflict game for me from a totals perspective. I think Milwaukee's got to show up defensively. That has me looking under. But with Orlando's total streak to the over, and the fact they're playing faster, and the fact I don't trust Milwaukee's defense right now after what I saw in Game 1, which now that has me leaning over. So it's a conflict. I could make case for the total either way.
Yeah, I hear that. And again, our man Intex, OG Lowbagger, has just been eating on every total under 230, going over every total that's under 230, and just winner after winner after winner. All right, let's move on to Blazers Lakers. This total opened up at 227, now 228.5. Lakers open up at -6. They're now at -6.5. So I've got to figure out exactly what LeBron is trying to do with what he's been saying in the press about the intricate problems in the locker room. But I see this as a team that is going to come out very, very focused. And I like them first quarter, first half, and I don't really like them full game. I like them early, but when you're watching these teams play, you're like, man, CJ and Dame can go off at any point. Nurkic and Whiteside on the floor together really stop some of the looks that the Lakers try to give you. So the pace in the bubble, similar. Blazers, Lakers at 101.89, 101.37 respectively. And in this series, it was slightly faster. But the fact that the Blazers have been in playoff mode for so long makes them a very tough out. Lillard goes for 34 in Game 1. He went for 37.4 during the 8 games in the bubble, or to get into the playoffs. McCollum goes for 21. Nurkic goes for 16. They held the Lakers to 35.1% shooting from the field, 15.6% shooting from 3. And AD, 28 and 11, you know that he wants more opportunities to score. And I did look at his player prop. LeBron, 23, 17, and 16. The rest of the team goes 17 for 53 from the field for 32.1%. Dennis Garcia says not trusting the Lakers shooters. I understand that. I'm going to trust the Lakers defensive intensity. And if the Lakers get up, we're going to quickly see Nurkic and Whiteside strolling the floor and slowing down the pace. That's making me think maybe we make a move on some totals early going under. Let's hear what Bobano has to say in the very, very exciting late game matchup, Blazers-Lakers.
Oh, it is. This is exciting. This is intriguing. This is fascinating. This is all the words. And this is all the words to sum up a game that has got great drama and great wonderment around it as to what exactly is going to happen here tonight. Now, I cashed with Portland in Game 1, and I resigned myself weeks ago to say, you know what? I'm taking Portland in Game 1 of the series against the Lakers if they get into the playoffs as the 8th seed, because it's going to set up perfectly for them. They're in playoff mode. They have been for a month or so, and the Lakers are just trying to get everybody back on the court in rhythm after resting guys, after clinching the Western Conference 1 seed weeks ago, and it played out to perfection. Portland was just locked in better start to finish than the Lakers were. Now, I'm personally taking that Portland plus 6.5 from Game 1 and putting it in my pocket. I'm not going back to Portland tonight, but I'm not in the rush to lay 6.5 with the Lakers here either. This is like Dallas with this Portland team. This is a offensive basketball team that's got everything rolling right now. Dame on fire, CJ McCollum hitting big shots, Carmelo Anthony rediscovering the fountain of youth and figuring out he can still play, and giving them some big time production. Even without Zach Collins in the front court in game one, I've never seen Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic has always been a great offensive big man. I don't know if I've seen the toughness. I don't know if I've seen that edge to him in the past like I'm seeing now. He's getting in people's grill. He's getting in people's faces like, get off of me. This is my pain area. I'm going to dominate down here, not you. And basically that's what he did in game one. I thought it was impressive. He turned Anthony Davis into a ghost in the second half. Anthony Davis, you couldn't find him with a telescope on the basketball court in the second half. How on earth could you go from that first half he had, dominating points, rebounds, everything, and then just a complete no-show, a complete flop in the second half for Anthony Davis? That has to change for the LA Lakers. You can't have that Casper the Ghost disappearing act again tonight, not in this playoff. You're in the playoffs now, man. You got to play 48 minutes of basketball. That was absolutely disgraceful, in my opinion, from AD. He's got to be better for the duration of this basketball game for the Lakers. But their offense looks in shambles. And this is a defense in the Blazers that has made any offense look good at times here in the bubble. That's their Achilles heel, the Blazers. They've not been able to get timely stops on the defensive end of the basketball court. Yet somehow they made the Laker offense look out of sync. I think Frank Vogel's got to change these rotations. I've got to somehow get the fact that the Lakers, Jimmy, going into this game, this tells you how things are all of a sudden very troubling and worrisome for them. The fact we're talking about J.R. Smith rejoining the starting rotation as maybe being the saving grace in this series, that's a problem. We got issues when we're talking about J.R. Smith coming into the starting five as the guy that's going to get this thing turned around for the LA Lakers, a guy that's a malcontent at times, a guy that hasn't even been on the team for the full season. But that's where we are. The Lakers have not looked sharp, in sync offensively at that end of the floor at any point since Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo have been out. And that's obviously been through the entire Orlando restart. They haven't played, and they've looked disjointed. There's no true ball handler. It's the turnovers, bad shots from Danny Green. I hate to rip the guy, but I saw that a lot in Toronto. The last playoff year he had bad shots, missed wide open threes. So what are you going to do? You're going to stick with him and hope he turns it around, or you got to find another guy to get it done in his place. We'll have to wait and see. Dion Waiters, a lot of Laker fans, including our boy, I know, Ski Prophet, calling for Dion Waiters to be in the starting five. But this is a fascinating game. I'll tell you what, I'm not betting against Portland. Not in this price range. +6. I know zigzag theory and the Lakers with the championship pedigree and the aspirations they have, they're going to want to fire back strong and play a lot better. But I know one team can score. That's Portland. I know another team right now is struggling mightily to score. That's the Lakers. And the team that's struggling mightily to score, you got to lay 6.5 with that team. Sorry, not me. If you like the Lakers, Jimmy, I like your approach. First quarter, first half, I'd be much more inclined to look those two directions with the Lakers than the full game. I
agree. Claudio S. says, Jimmy, does James get 31 points? I would say no. I think the James triple doubles at +150 and higher. I mean, +150 is not a good number for a triple double, but still, I would go in that direction with LeBron. What do you think, Claudio S., our man? We got to lead Claudio S. right, because I talked him off the Braden Point goal prop in that first game of the Jacket series. He scored 5 minutes in. What do you think? LeBron gets 31 points for Claudio S.?
This is one of those games you would think. I was angry at Anthony Davis too, because I had him over 40.5, I believe, points and rebounds, and he ends up with 39 or 38 because of a no-show in the second half when he should have hurdled well over that number. So I was frustrated for that reason too. But yeah, I don't mind the LeBron over. I like LeBron over rebounds more than anything. This guy's been a rebounding machine lately, LeBron James. Like, I had the over rebounds of LeBron in game one, and he crushed that number, went way over the total. I don't mind the points either. But this guy has been crashing the glass, trying to get on the boards, get those rebounds, get those loose balls. From a LeBron props perspective, I wouldn't talk you out of the over points, but I've been riding his over rebounds prop. That's been really good for him lately.
Yeah, I think I'd go in that direction. The rebounds and assists, I wonder what that is very quickly. Let's see what his rebounds and assists, although it did blow up in my face last game. Let's see, 20 and a half. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother there. Okay, so if the Lakers, there's two things that can happen in it. There's obviously a myriad of things that can happen, but one thing that's going to keep me off, I think, of the first half under, which I almost pulled the trigger on, is that if the Lakers start rolling and AD starts rolling early, they're going to, which is what I hope, what correlates with that is the Blazers immediately bringing out Whiteside and Nurkic to slow down AD, and that in turn slows the pace down, which would make me think this first half under. By the way, this first half under is being hammered from 111.5 all the way up to 116.5. What do you think of that idea? Lakers come out hot. That's my bet. And if the Lakers come out hot, Whiteside has to get on the floor with Nurkic, which will slow the pace down. What do you think of
that? That makes some sense. That makes some sense. I kind of lean over for the full game, though. In this one, I know the game one cruised under the total. I do believe the Lakers, this has the sense of a game where they might finally get some things going offensively. And I don't think they're completely shutting down Portland by any stretch of the imagination. And, the total was way up there in game one in the 230s. And again, these totals in the 230s have been consistently, for the most part, there's been a few that have gone over, but for the most part, totals in the 230s here in Orlando have gone under the total. But now this one's down in the high 220s, 227, 228 now with this total. So I'm more interested in the over for the full game in this game than I was in game one for sure. And that's probably the way I'm going to go with that. But your theory makes sense. I just think this is a night where the Lakers, I think they'll make some tweaks in the rotation. I think they'll keep that guarded. I don't think they're going to let Terry Stotts and Portland know what they're doing. But I do think there's going to be a little change in the rotation here tonight. And their offense will make some. Remember, this is still not an elite defense here for the Portland Trail Blazers. And I think finally tonight the Lakers, they have nowhere to go but up offensively after game one, clearly. And I think that will happen. I know it stayed way under game one. And now we're still dealing with a 228 here. But because of the fact this total's dropped a bit from the game one total, I do think there's a little bit more value over because I think the Lakers will shoot better. And I don't think they're completely shutting down Portland. You just can't completely shut them down with the way they've consistently been able to fill it up for the better part of the last month.
Do you think that the market hasn't corrected itself because they're not prepared to move everything so quickly with Nurkic and Whiteside on the floor at the same time for extended amounts of time, slowing down AD, that this total, do you think it's possible that this total keeps dropping all series long because the Blazers understand shut down AD, win the basketball game?
Yeah, there's definitely, anytime you put more size, in the low post, as opposed to the reverse where you go small, speeds up the pace. Go big, slows down the pace. There's no question about that. That's just an NBA totals handicapping 101 for sure. I think the important thing here is going to be whether or not the Lakers can get their offense rolling here. And as far as I'm concerned, I do like the over tonight. But if we have another game, Jimmy, tonight, and as you mentioned, we did see a much slower pace in game one. If we see it tonight with more bigs on the floor for Portland throughout the course of the game, and we see another game in the 190s or 200s, then I'm going to believe in this series being a true, the total's been mispriced in this series from the very beginning, and it's got a chance maybe to consistently be an under series because guess what? If this game is like a 200, 210, and it stays way under again, there'll be another adjustment. But it's not like they're going to go from 228 all the way down to 216 or something. No, you may get another 1 point, 2 point downward adjustment. So maybe in game three, if this stays under tonight, game three will be 227.5 or 226.5. You're still not going to see a crazy, rapid, massive adjustment based on what happens tonight from a total standpoint in game three. But definitely something to keep in mind. I think if we have another really low scoring game, it's going to be an indicator that pace-wise, the odds makers might be a little bit off with this series-wide total.
And again, it isn't really the pace as much because they still got 102.5 possessions combined. It's more, or each, but it's more the shooting percentage. I guess 35.1% from the field, 15.6% from three. If that improves, it could still go under. It could still go under, but that is the issue because if you look at the pace from, the Thunder Rockets, there was 5 less possessions for each team in that game. And that game soared over because of the threes that the Rockets were shooting, 52 shots from 3.
You bomb threes and you hit a really high percentage from threes, it can make up for any slower pace that might be going on when it comes to a total going over. No doubt about that. So
I'm going to take the first half under, but I'm almost thinking that if AD pops off right off, if he gets 4 buckets in the first 4 minutes, if he's got 8 points in 4 minutes, that we immediately see Whiteside slow it down.
He popped off in the first half in game 1. I just didn't see the guy at all on the court in the second half. That was the issue with AD.
Yeah.
I can't explain that. I can't possibly wrap my head around how the guy could be so good and dominant, just eating up the rebounds, putting in all kinds of he's shooting outside a little bit pretty good as well, but especially cleaning up inside layups, putbacks, and just being a force down low, on the glass, in the paint, and then just completely not even look like you're engaged and involved in the game in the second half. It's amazing how it can go like that, one half to the next.
This first half total opened up at Bet365 at 111.5. 111.5, and within 20 minutes it was up to 116. I think that there's a bias here. I'm so close to pulling the trigger on the first half under. I'm so close to pulling the trigger on the first half under, and I will. I'm going to take the first half under. So I have 3 bets on this game, dangerous, all in the first quarter and first half. But if the Lakers get AD rolling, the Blazers, Stotts decides, let's bring in Whiteside and Nurkic to slow it down. All these correlated. And then in the third quarter, the Blazers get into the locker room. They're like, let's speed up the pace as fast as possible and get as many shots up and change the vibe. That. So, okay. So I'm going to get under 116.5 right now. Shit, it's 116.5. I think that, yeah, 116.5. And it's at minus 105. That's live. First half under 116.5. All right, beautiful. We're in business. That is our NBA card. Bobano, my man, before we go into NHL, could you please review your action?
Yep, Miami -4 half unit in the early game against Indiana. Oklahoma City +2.5 against Houston. I'd probably say that's my best bet today in the NBA as well. I think the Thunder are much better than they showed in game 1. And the late game, Portland Lakers over 228.5. Oh, and Milwaukee -4.5 first quarter against Orlando. So there we go. Miami -4, OKC +2.5. Milwaukee -4.5 first quarter, Portland Lakers over 228.5. I will be adding the over in the Houston OKC game if and only if Luguentz Dort is out. If he is, I'll be adding that game over the total.
Index. Sorry, I'm trying not to focus on my man. My index has been winning so much. He's just the bastion of love right now. Okay, my action. You just heard Bobano's. My action. Heat full game -4. Rockets. Eric Gordon over 17.5 points and over 2.5 threes. And look, Magic +13 is screaming at me. It just feels like you could be late to the party there. And then I have 3 bets on Blazers Lakers. I can't wait to watch it. First quarter, Lakers -2.5. First half, Lakers -4. And first half under 116.5. That is my NBA. All righty, let's move on to NHL. And I spoke a little bit about this off the top of the show. The big difference between NHL and NBA is these NHL teams flip the switch. And the top teams were dominant after not looking good in that exhibition series. In basketball, it's been the opposite. And the Columbus-Carolina series futures I made were terrible. Just absolutely atrocious. Both lose 4-1. Very, very disappointing. Islanders-Capitals, Game 5. Islanders up 3-1. The Capitals special teams are playing at a very high level. And Backstrom being out hurts them. but special teams start taking over in these games, and the Islanders are a better team. Man to man, they're a better hockey team. But there are intangibles and special teams going with the Capitals. The great eight, Alexander Ovechkin, is putting his team on his back. The Capitals' penalty killing since the restart is at 96.3%. Their power play is at 19.2%. The Isles' penalty killing is at 73.3%. And there's nothing more dangerous than a man or a team with hope. And that's what the Capitals have right now. I watched that first period of the game, and I was like, man, the Islanders are so much better than the Capitals. And Kuznetsov and Ovechkin take over. Only 4 of 195 NHL teams in an 0-3 hole have come back to win. And the Islanders got 6 shots in the third period on Tuesday when special teams completely took over. Let's see what we are dealing with right now from an odds perspective. It's a pick'em. It's an absolute pick'em. And the total here opened at 5, juiced to the over at minus 120. It's now over, juiced a little more at minus 125. Take it away, Bobano. Islanders, Capitals.
I was on the Islanders in Game 1. I was on the Islanders in Game 2. I was on the Islanders in Game 3. And I was on the Islanders in Game 4, the first loss of the series for the Islanders. So guess where I'm headed today? Right back to that Islander train. Yes, indeed. I think they can end it today. You're always a little concerned in the pit of your stomach that you give the team like the Washington Capitals with Stanley Cup championship experience and pedigree with Ovechkin and Oshie and Kuznetsov and Carlson and Holtby, the goaltender, and all these guys that have been together for so long. You give them a little life, a little spark, and they can just take it and gain momentum and start. And that was Washington's best game for sure, the series Game 4. But they were dead to rights when it was 2-0 Islanders. And the Islanders did the one thing they couldn't afford to do in any game this series. The only time they've been in trouble in this series, Jimmy, is when they've made a parade to the penalty box. As soon as they get into penalty trouble, that's what gives Washington life, because they do still have a lethal power play, and they've shown it here in this series. At 5-on-5 even strength, when there are no penalties at the time, the Islanders have dominated this series. They've been far better than the Capitals. And I love how people say, well, it's been their defense. It's been Barry Trotz. And that's true. Barry Trotz has done a great job. The defense is outstanding. I like that blue line top to bottom. It's a deeper blue line than Washington. Washington's got issues with their blue line depth. I'm sorry. Nick Jensen and Hechavarry and Siegenthaler and some of these depth defensemen for the Caps, they're not big-time defensemen in the NHL. They're not. The Islanders have a huge advantage there, in my opinion. Semyon Varlamov, for the most part in this series, has been the better goalie as well over Braden Holtby. But it's funny hearing people say, oh, the Islanders, that defense of theirs, winning them games again in the playoffs. It's time to start talking about their offense a little bit. They can score. They've shown it here in this series. They're a better offensive team now with Anthony Beauvillier, and Anders Lee's had a great series, and Matthew Barzal is really starting to get it going for the Islanders. Jordan Eberle has resuscitated his dead career, his fledgling career here with the Islanders. He's even been really good lately. And Jean-Gabriel Pageau from Ottawa at the trade deadline. What a move that's proven to be for the New York Islanders. Outstanding job acquiring him at the deadline. So I think, and Barry Trotz off a loss in the playoffs, he's only hitting at like 59% in the last 10, 12 years going back to Nashville. Like, he has been an outstanding coach, and his team's off a loss in the playoffs going back to Nashville. That was 2 teams ago for Barry Trotz from a coaching standpoint. Nashville, Washington, and now here. His track record off a loss is sensational. Oh, and then you have numbnuts Tom Wilson after the game saying, you know what, I'm not surprised we stayed alive. We didn't really respect this. He's doing the old, we didn't really respect this team very much going into the series. You just gave them some bulletin board material with that inane, ridiculous comment. And then I'm sure it got back to the Islanders here in that. I think it ends tonight. And if it doesn't end tonight, I'd start to get a little concerned about the Islanders. Might get a little tight around the collar, but I don't think the series goes past tonight. I like the Islanders, and I'm never in a million years, Jimmy, going to pass up betting an over in an elimination game when it's 5. No way, no how. You can get tons of time with the net empty, a goal-scoring explosion late because of the net being empty. 5, elimination game, that's an auto over for me. So over and Islanders for me.
Over and Islanders. Claudio S. saying Ovechkin anytime goal. You know, what I would, and that's just at plus 125, man. But what I would probably do is I would split that unit in half, and I might do this. What do you think of a Ovechkin over half a power play point at plus 150 and anytime goal at plus 125? Because Ovechkin, he gets his assists on the power play from taking shots and then the rebounds coming up, and Kuznetsov, Al taking care of business from then. And if you get the Ovechkin power play goal, you cash both bets. What do you think of Ovechkin props in this game? I know it doesn't correlate with you back in the Islanders here.
Oh, I'll definitely bet props, goal-scoring props and points props on the opposing team, even if I've got a bet on the other team. I do it all the time. And absolutely. If Washington's going to win this game, Alex Ovechkin's and stay alive for a second straight game, Alex Ovechkin's going to have a hand in it, just like he did in Game 4. Like, they had nothing going, all right? He starts a scrum. He gets in the face of one of the Islander players, and when it was 2-0 at the time for the Islanders, and sure enough, they get a power play out of it, and Ovechkin scores, and he scored, of course, the game winner as well. He willed them to win, and credit to him. That's what you expect out of a guy like Alex Ovechkin. I think he's finally getting the respect he deserves for his compete level, and he cares. He wants to win. I think that was something that maybe he didn't have very early in his career, but you can't say that now. For the last several years, this is a guy that's done everything in his power to help his team win. That's not just scoring. It's about throwing a timely hit. It's about getting in someone's face at the right time when your bench needs a little bit of an energy jolt. Ovechkin gives his team that these days. And I would expect him to do everything in his power to be great again tonight in a backs against the wall situation, just like he was in Game 4. So I have no argument. If you like Ovechkin points and maybe to score tonight, I would not in a minute talk you out of betting that.
Yeah, and the power play point over a half power play points at plus 150. You get the power play goal, you cash both. Interesting, very interesting. I'm going to be thinking about that now. I've got no move right now on Islanders Capitals, but that's a very interesting way of looking at it. I don't like the goal props. Bobano, you're so successful with them. I don't find myself as successful. Let's move on to Stars Flames right now. And Alex Ramirez, Spidey, play of the day. Stars in regulation time at plus 120. He's also in Islanders regulation time. Stars game over 5, Islanders over 5. And he's hitting 17-10 in NHL since the restart. Dallas leading the series 3-2. And Ben and Sagan have stepped up. And that means so much to this Dallas Stars team because there's two guys that you just can't count on. Flames still winning the special teams battle overall, 25% power play since the restart, 86.1% penalty killing, where the Stars are at 14.3 and 77.8 respectively. The total opened up at 5. It was juiced to the over at minus 115. It's now juiced to the over at minus 120. And Dallas opening up at minus 130 and a 5-cent move towards the Flames. They're now minus 125. Gate Passkey says, like the Stars, Flames over for sure. First period and full game. Dennis Garcia says, Calgary getting screwed. Entire series should be ahead. Bobano, Stars, Flames.
Yeah, and I mentioned the elimination game overs at a total of 5. Same here, and I'm on the over here as well. And this has been one of the highest scoring series of this round, and nobody expected that going in, especially with Dallas involved. We think of them offensively challenged, defensively structured and sound. But boy, this has been a high scoring series, and Calgary looks like they're wilting defensively. And finally, why didn't it show up last round when I bet Winnipeg? Bastards. Why didn't this defense that struggled show up last round without Hamonic? And finally, I think we're finally starting to see this. Calgary defense finally misses Travis Hamonic. They've had a really tough time running around in their own zone, coughing the puck up, giving up 40, 50, even 60 shots in games to the Dallas Stars in this series. It's putting way too much duress on Cam Tell, but I think he's wearing down just a little bit as well. And, of course, they've had to go with Hudobin. And that's another thing to think about with the over here. Hudobin's not used to playing this many games in a row. And now he's playing this many games, and he's now facing a lot of shots. It's not like Dallas is locking it down completely either. Calgary's gotten to 30 shots or more in a lot of games. I think we'll see enough goal. Again, you're just talking about a 5 here, a piddly little 5. It's not like a 6 or a 6.5 in an elimination game for Calgary, too. They got to throw everything but the kitchen sink, including the kitchen sink at the Dallas net. It looks like Tkachuk isn't going to play there. They were really, really hoping for Matthew Tkachuk to return tonight for Game 6. That really does hurt because I don't want to say that's the full reason why the series has swung to Dallas, but Dallas has gotten better. They've gotten stronger. They've made Jamie Benn mad a game or two ago. They got in his face, they started pushing him after the whistle, and that's the thing. Jamie Benn, you got to let sleeping dogs lie. Jamie Benn can be disengaged at times, but you wake him up, you get him to flip that intensity switch on. That's when he's at his best, and Jamie Benn has stepped up for Dallas of late. Tyler Seguin as well. I lean to Dallas in the game. I've already got them in the series. I don't know if I'll go against that because it's really been a back-and-forth type series for the most part, but I do think Dallas, I would lean Dallas for sure if I'm betting this from a side perspective, but I'm probably not betting that. I am on the over in this game, and I do have a goal-scoring prop in this game and one that I like quite a bit. Who's a big-time player for these teams in big games, clinching games, elimination games, whatever the case may be? Who's proven that over the last 10 years in this league? Joe Pavelski of the Dallas Stars. He's plus 260 to score a goal tonight. You got some stiffs in front of this guy, in terms of the goal scoring prop market. Rupe Hintz, who's done nothing in this series, is plus 240 to score a goal. Radulov's been quiet, plus 240. And yet Joe Pavelski is plus 260. A big game player? Are you kidding me with the pricing on some of these goal-scoring props? They got Joe Pavelski right there with Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan, who you can't find him with a telescope most of this series for the Calgary Flames. That is value. In a big game like this, clinching game, we saw him score a goal in the final seconds to force overtime a couple of games ago. He's a big-time player in big games and big spots, and he's plus 260 just to score a goal tonight in this clinching game. Sign me up. Joe Pavelski, anytime goal scorer, plus 260.
Clint can get him at plus 300. I like it.
I got to start using Clint's book because I'm using another one, and he's gotten a better price on some of these than I have. So, yeah, I'm going to have to look for that plus 300. Even better. Great price.
I am going to pull the trigger on the Ovechkin props. My bets, my unit size in NHL is $200. I'm not going to put $200 on this because I'm going to cut it in half. For show purposes, they'll count as 2 bets. But I'm just going to do $100 on each here. Ovechkin goal, anytime goal, plus 125. Ovechkin over a half power play point at plus 150. I'm going to make those moves in the Islanders-Capitals game. Stars, Flames, I haven't been able to time the overs properly, which has been irritating. And I lean towards the Stars to finish off this series. I do understand Dennis feeling that the Flames have, sort of been screwed over by the refs. But I think the Stars are just a better hockey team overall. And I never know if Ben and Seguin are going to step up. And the fact that they have and Tkachuk is out, I just think that moves everything too far over to the Stars finishing off this series.
One thing about the total, you mentioned it. You haven't timed the totals right with the Calgary-Dallas series. It's been one of those series where a low-scoring game, the last game with these two teams has usually meant a higher-scoring game the next game. You look at this series, Game 1, 3-2 Calgary pushed on the total. Next game, 5-4 Calgary or Dallas flew over the total. Game 3, 2-0 Calgary stayed under. The next game flew over the total, 5-4 Dallas. Last game, 2-1 Dallas stayed under. I think we get that flip again here to an over tonight.
Bright Ware says Flames haven't lost 2 games back-to-back all year. Interesting. I didn't know it was that few. Tkachuk is their best player. And the fact that the knuckleheads picked Yul Levy over him is still just so irritating. Stars, Flames. I'm going to take the Stars to finish this series off. And I'm also going to go for the score. I think I'm going to take a -1 to finish this off. Let's just see what I get here quickly.
By the way, if you want Calgary goal scoring props, I see some chat about that from people in our chat box here. Dylan Dubé and Sam Bennett. Those are the ones I'd be interested in. Sam Bennett's had a really good offensive series. He's plus 320. And Dylan Dubé, I know he's cooled off a bit the last couple games, but he's still plus 425. And even though he's been held off the scoreboard the last couple, he still had chances. I think he had a post one game. So if I'm betting Calgary goal scorer props, Dubé plus 425, Bennett at plus, I believe, 320. Yes.
I love that Bennett has stepped up. I've always cheered for him. Okay, I'm not going to take the Stars to -1. It's only a plus 136 to the minus 125. It's not worth it. I'm going to take the Stars to finish off the series. Bright Ware says Flames win today. Kachuk is so important. So important. Now, I know Bennett and Lucic have stepped up. Thank God, because there's times when Johnny Hockey's missing in action. I'm Stars minus 125, and I am doing the Ovechkin props. That is my NHL card. Could you review your NHL action one more time for us, Bobano?
Yes, indeed. New York Islanders. We're on them at minus 105. We're also on the New York Islanders Washington Capitals game over 5, minus 125. And I like Dallas Calgary, just the total there, over 5, minus 120. And also give me Joe Pavelski, anytime goal scorer, plus 260.
I'm on the Stars at minus 125. Richie Rich says this game is a toss-up to me. I just think the Stars are better. We shall see. Ovechkin, anytime goal, plus 125. Ovechkin over a half power play point at plus 150. That is my NHL action. Bobano joining us every Thursday. You can catch Bobano right here live on Betting with the Bag. Love capping with you, my friend. Follow this man on Twitter at Bobano. He's a great, great follow. Any last words for these great cappers in the chat, Bobano?
The great cappers in the chat are like family. That's the last words. It's great to always see them, talk to them, and we have a great DM going on Twitter with so many of these guys. It's fantastic to exchange opinions and thoughts and be able to have a difference of opinion and not just scream and yell at the other guy for having a difference of opinion. It's really, really nice to be able to have that rapport with everybody. It's phenomenal. Jimmy, this is great to be doing this with you again every Thursday. I'm looking forward to it every week moving forward.
Absolutely. I love it. Absolutely love it. And the NFL season on the horizon, Bobano, so I look forward to be working with you in NFL moving forward. Enjoy your day. May it be very, very successful. There he is. Bobano in the house. What a guy. Much love.
Good stuff, Jimmy.
Von Polo says, when is the next meetup? Can we do Vegas or Atlantic City? 100%. We're going to do Vegas or Atlantic City, without a doubt. But we got to get through we can't drive across the border right now. If it was Atlantic City, Gokster, Nilo, Max. Oh, I guess Max can't go across the border, but that's not funny. But Gokster, Nilo, we'll just hop in the car and fire over. But Bobano, you'd fire over, right? We'd drive over down to Atlantic City?
Definitely. I absolutely would be very much interested in it. Again, we'll have to wait and see timing of it. Hopefully things clear up. I'm in no immediate rush to travel. I'm taking this a little bit more cautiously, this whole pandemic, than some. But as soon as it's, I'm feeling good enough that, hey, I'm ready to go on a trip again and travel again. Absolutely. I can't wait. I would absolutely go to something like that. It would be a lot of fun. I got to run, Jimmy. I just wanted to mention that before I go. So I'm going to say my goodbye now. This has been awesome. Good luck today, Jimmy, to you and everybody in the chat. Cash some tickets. We'll see you again next Thursday.
There he is, Bobano, joining us every Thursday. Let's go over my action one more time. The taint play of the day is the Twins, which makes me very uncomfortable because I'm on the Brewers' first 5. So that scares me, but that's the taint play today. I'm on Mets first 5 minus a half. I'm on Brewers first 5. That's at minus 105. I'm on Dodgers Mariners first 5 under 4.5. And I'm on Rangers Padres first 5 under 4.5. Yenny, we're definitely gonna do Vegas again. We gotta do something for our East Coast cats. 4 bets in MLB. NBA, I've already bet Heat -4 and Lakers first quarter, first half. I'm adding Eric Gordon props over 17.5 points, over 2.5 threes, and I'm also adding first half under 116.5. We'll see if I get that when I bet it in the Blazers-Lakers game. In NHL, I'm on the OV props, goal plus 125, over a half, power play point at plus 150. And then I'm on the Stars minus 125. That is our show today, and we have nothing. Beach Boss says he'll start hitchhiking right now. I can't wait to party with Beach Boss. What a guy he is. Thank you to all you guys. You make it so special. So special. Von Polo, Spenny, Penny Bombs, Raul Rogers. There's Ian Cameron still in the chat. What a guy. In Tex. Mr. Wisdom, Yenny Toon, Mr. Gokster, Alex Ramirez, star of the Spidey play of the day. Beach Boss, Connor Mack, Gin Rummy. Gin Rummy, great to see you, man. Great to see you in the chat. We miss you. We love you. Canascat, Birdie, Kevin Limebeer, Dennis Garcia, Brandon Lugo, Golf Today, Richie Rich, D. Summers, Slats 45, Steve Priest, Leo Leon, Birdie. What a great, great group. I need to bounce back today. Badly. Very badly. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers! Come on, I need a day today.